My initial plan was to use this dope model from CG Trader to make a Toji action figure, and don't worry, that is on the way. I know, it's been 6 months, but let's get to work. After printing all the pieces half a year ago, I finally found the time and motivation to get this bad boy done. He does have quite a bit of accessories and manual work that needs to go into him, but overall he wasn't too much of a time sink. But before I start going over all the prep work that needs to be done, let's get him some clothes, shall we? For that job, I enlisted my mom's help once again. She's sewn clothes for my other custom figures before, so I gave her the new challenge of designing Toji's iconic outfit. The tight black shirt was easy, but it took her a few tries to get the pants right. I gotta say though, they did come out pretty cool when she figured it out. Check out his articulation here. I wish he could still do this. He's gonna develop some severe arthritis in the near future. With his clothes done, it's time to do the part that everybody hates, the prep work. Unfortunately, the only body I could find with the right proportions for Toji was way too tan. Plus, it has some overly realistic hair details on the arms that this anime-inspired figure doesn't need. His neck is also way too wide, so it needed to be reduced for his head to fit. I spent hours on this part sanding and cutting away at his skin until it looked right. I'm used to harder plastic bodies, but this one has a softer, more rubbery feel to it, which made it easier to cut but way harder to sand. Even after hours of sanding, I still couldn't get all the little nicks and scratches out. But once I put some paint on it, it was hardly noticeable, so it didn't bother me too much. The ankles also needed a bit of work since the body itself basically has none. All it took was a bit of epoxy sculpt to give him some proper ankles and cover that joint up a bit. Once I finished with the body, it's time to prep the 3D prints. The file I bought of the split soul katana wasn't exactly accurate, so I had to sand the blade smooth like it is in the show. I ended up reprinting his head since the last one was too small, and most of his weapons. I went with black for his Glock so I wouldn't have to paint it and risk it chipping off whenever I put it in and out of his hands. That's the same reason I printed the inverted spears in burgundy, since that's the color of the handle. Why did I print 2 of them? Well, because it makes it easier to do something that I'll show you guys in a bit. Remember how I said earlier that I wish he could still be posed like before? Well, it seems like all that sanding took a toll on poor old Toji and made some of his joints extremely loose, mostly his torso. He can still stand up on his own, but any dynamic poses will send him toppling over for sure. I also put some magnets on the pieces of his cursed spirit wormy thingy so it could be attached and removed at will. I even put some extra magnets on him somewhere else, but I'll save that reveal for later as well. And with all that done, it's finally time to paint. I usually love the painting process, but for this project it was way more stressful. See, usually my custom figures are fully clothed, so you can't really see their skin too much. With Toji, however, his neck, collarbone, arms, and lower legs are all visible, which means I have to paint all those areas to keep a consistent skin tone across his body. The problem is, I still haven't uncovered the secret to keep paint chipping off of articulated figures. No matter how much I sand the area or how many coats of varnish I put on, the paint will always chip off whenever I try to actually pose the figure. I'll do the best I can though and just hope the paint chipping isn't too bad until after the photo shoot. I mentioned earlier that I reprinted his weapons to be the right color so I wouldn't have to paint the handles, but I didn't reprint the split soul katana. I already went through all the trouble of sanding the blade smooth and I wasn't going to do it again, but I do have a plan for stopping the paint chipping. We'll get to that in just a bit, but for now let's finish getting everything painted. And as I do that, I'll take this time to talk to you guys a little bit. I really do enjoy making these 1/6 scale custom figures for my collection. I definitely can't afford to be dropping 150 plus on official figures. Plus, in some cases like this Toji figure, there isn't even an official one out yet, which technically means I probably have the only 1/6 scale Toji figure unless another customizer's done one. I've seen some 6-inch scale customs, but nothing in 12-inch scale except for mine, which is pretty cool to think about. There is so many more characters I'd love to make into custom figures, from Jujutsu Kaisen, Chainsaw Man, and more. As far as Chainsaw Man, I've still got one more custom I need to get to before season 2 drops, and that's Makima. But for Jujutsu Kaisen, oh man, the sky's the limit. Obviously the main 3 and Daddy Gojo are a must, but I'd also love to get to some of the side characters like Sukuna, Nanami, Todo, Yuta, Maki, and more. If you guys like what I'm doing with Toji, make sure you let me know so I can keep going. But there's a few reasons I can't just keep popping them out as much as I'd like to. For one, they're quite expensive to make. Between the bodies, the clothes, the 3D files, the resin, etc., they usually cost somewhere around 50 to 100 bucks just in materials alone. This starving artist can't afford to throw all my income into custom figures, as much as I wish I could. I also have limited time to work on them since I usually have other projects or commissions I'm working on that take priority since I need to pay the bills. Maybe one day when I've got a bit more stability and can dedicate more time to my personal passion projects, I'll start pumping these out more often. For now, if you guys like what I do, you can support me by subscribing, dropping a like, or a comment. It helps me out way more than you know. I've also still got some Prison Realm dice and charms for sale on my Etsy store if you guys are interested in picking some up. Earlier I mentioned I had a plan for the split soul katana, and here it is. My mom had some elastic that was the perfect color for the handle, so I glued it down and wrapped that around to make it look just like the show. it's looking pretty good, but it still needs that fluffy white hair part. Luckily, she also had this fluffy blanket thing, which looks pretty close to what I need. So I waited for her to not be around and I cut a piece off without her noticing. She probably won't figure out it was me unless she watches this video, so I think we're good. But if I ever just stop uploading one day, now you'll know why. And with that, I have a pretty damn show accurate split soul katana. Now why did I print 2 inverted spears and install some extra magnets on the worm? Well, let's get to the photo shoot so you can see what I did.